Hey everybody, welcome to another deep dive. And you know, today we're going like way beyond Bigfoot. We're talking about all those hairy humanoid legends that seem to pop up like all over the world.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. You've got like the Yeti, the Yowie,
Right.
even the skunk ape right here in the U.S.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder, like, what is it about these creatures that we find so fascinating?
Well, it's like this need, we have, this kind of primal need to believe in something beyond what we can see and explain.
Yeah, it's like a gap in our understanding of the world.
Yeah.
And these creatures kind of fill it, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, let's start with Bigfoot.
Right.
You know, the OG of these legends. I
Yeah.
mean, we all know the image, right? Massive,
Really.
hairy, walking upright.
Yeah.
But here's the thing that I always find interesting.
Okay.
The height descriptions.
Mm-hmm.
They tend to be pretty consistent, you know, like in that 6 to 9 foot range.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because you'd think if it was pure imagination, we have stories of them being 20 feet tall or, tiny.
Right. Right.
But that 6 to 9 foot range seems almost plausible, you know?
Yeah. Almost like there's some kind of biological reason for it.
Exactly. But of course, you always get those like way more extreme claims.
Oh, yeah.
You know, where people are talking about Bigfoot being 10 or even 15 feet tall. And come on,
Yeah. You got to wonder if maybe they just saw a bear standing up or something.
there's something, yeah.
Yeah.
Misidentification has got to play a big part, right?
Oh, definitely. Especially with bears, they can be surprisingly human-like from a distance.
Yeah, especially in like low light or if you just get a quick glimpse.
Right. But then you have those reports of vocalizations
Oh, yeah.
and like structures built in the woods that don't really fit with typical bear behavior.
That's true.
So, while bears might explain some sightings, I don't think they account for everything.
And then you've got the whole escaped ape theory
Yeah.
or even the idea of feral humans running around out there.
Right.
I mean, I've seen some pretty crazy stuff on the internet, but like a whole community of Tarzan-like people living undetected.
I know.
That's a little hard to swallow for me.
Yeah, those are definitely more fringe theories.
Yeah.
But here's something that I think is often overlooked.
Okay.
The Bigfoot legend. This isn't just some recent thing.
Right.
Native American cultures have stories of similar creatures
Really.
that predate the whole Bigfoot name by centuries.
So this isn't like a modern day myth or whatever.
Not at all. It's
Yeah.
this thread woven through human history, this fascination with something wild and unknown.
Coexisting alongside us.
Yeah, exactly.
So how did the name Bigfoot actually even come about?
Well,
Was it like a newspaper headline or something?
It actually came from a very specific event.
Okay.
Back in 1958,
A while ago.
a construction site in California.
Right.
This became like the center of the Bigfoot world for a while.
Really?
Yeah, this bulldozer operator, Jerry Crew, he found these massive footprints, like 16 inches long.
Yeah.
The story made headlines, and the name Bigfoot was born.
It's a good name.
Right? It was perfect, simple, descriptive, and maybe a little bit scary.
So construction site, giant footprints, catchy name. It's classic Bigfoot lore.
Right.
But wait, wasn't there something about those footprints being a prank?
Well, yeah, years later, it did come out that a coworker of Crew's had confessed to faking the prints.
Oh, really?
But here's the thing, even with documented hoaxes like that,
Right.
the legend, it persisted.
It's like we want to believe.
It makes you wonder, is the appeal of Bigfoot so strong that we're willing to overlook even hard evidence?
Yeah.
On the contrary.
It's fascinating. And you mentioned Bigfoot's global cousins earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Is there like a connection between all these creatures from all over the world?
Yeah.
I mean, are they all just variations on a theme, or is there something more to it?
That's where it gets really fascinating.
Right.
If you look beyond the specific names and the locations,
Right.
there are some striking similarities in these accounts.
Like what?
Take the Dark Watchers, for example.
Okay, I've heard of those.
These were tall, shadowy figures said to have been seen by Spanish explorers in California.
Oh, wow, way back.
Yeah, way back in the 16th century.
Wow.
And they were always described as lurking at the edge of the firelight, just out of reach.
Okay, that definitely sounds familiar.
Right.
Just like those classic Bigfoot sightings in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just the Dark Watchers, right?
Yeah.
I was reading about the Sulkalu,
Uh-huh.
these slant-eyed giants from Cherokee folklore.
Yeah.
They're said to roam the Appalachian Mountains,
Mm.
which, if you think about it, isn't that far geographically from, like, typical Bigfoot territory.
That's right.
So we've got the Dark Watchers, we've got the Sulkalu.
And then you've got the Yeti in the Himalayas.
Right.
The Yowie in Australia.
Yeah.
The Orang Pendek in Indonesia.
It's like every continent has their own version.
It seems like, every continent has its own version of this, hairy humanoid enigma.
So we've got all these different cultures separated by huge distances, all telling similar stories about these creatures.
Right.
I mean, that can't just be a coincidence, can it?
Exactly. And that's what makes this whole topic so intriguing,
Yeah.
It suggests that there's something about these creatures, about the idea of them, that resonates deeply with us as humans.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a way of explaining the unexplainable, or maybe it taps into this primal fear of the unknown.
Mm.
Or maybe, just maybe, there's a grain of truth to these legends that we haven't uncovered yet.
It's like this universal archetype, this shared human experience that just keeps popping up in different forms all over the world.
Right.
And it makes you think, if it's just our imagination, why are the details so similar?
Yeah, it's a question that's puzzled researchers and enthusiasts for decades,
Right.
Are these stories simply a product of our overactive imaginations, or could there be something more to them?
Speaking of things that make you wonder, have we ever found any, real proof of these creatures?
Mm-hmm.
Something beyond blurry photos or footprints in the mud?
Well, that's where the debate gets really heated.
Oh, yeah?
Even the most hardcore Bigfoot believers will admit that a lot of the so-called evidence out there can be explained away as hoaxes or misidentifications.
Right, but what about that famous Patterson-Gimlin film?
Oh, yeah.
That grainy footage of a Bigfoot-like creature walking through the woods?
Right.
That's got to count for something, right?
Ah, yes, the Patterson-Gimlin film.
It's like the holy grail of Bigfoot evidence.
A cornerstone of Bigfoot lore.
Right.
And a source of endless debate.
Endless.
It was shot back in 1967 and shows this large, hairy figure, supposedly female based on its body shape.
Okay.
Walking with a very distinct gait.
It's become like this iconic image, even if the quality is pretty rough.
Oh, yeah, incredibly grainy.
But has anyone ever been able to definitively debunk it?
Well, that's the thing. It's been analyzed and reanalyzed for decades.
Wow.
Some people claim it's just a guy in a suit, while others insist it shows a real unknown creature.
It's hard to tell with that footage.
There have been attempts to recreate the footage.
Oh, really?
With people in ape costumes and things like that.
Ah.
But none have been able to perfectly replicate the creature's movements.
So it remains this unsolved mystery.
It does.
Fueling the imaginations of believers and skeptics alike.
Absolutely.
But even if we never find that smoking gun, that undeniable piece of evidence,
right?
Doesn't the search itself tell us something about ourselves?
Oh, absolutely. I think it speaks to our innate curiosity.
Okay.
Our desire to push the boundaries of knowledge and explore the unknown.
Yeah.
In a world that's increasingly defined by technology and concrete answers.
Right.
These mysteries offer a sense of wonder, a reminder that there are still things out there that we don't fully understand.
It's like a counterbalance to our everyday lives.
Yeah.
A way of tapping into that primal part of ourselves that's drawn to the wild and the unexplained.
Right. And maybe that's the real appeal of these creatures.
Okay.
They represent the possibility of something beyond our current understanding. A reminder that there's still magic and mystery to be found in the world.
So if we kind of step back from the specific details of Bigfoot or the Yeti,
right,
we're left with this much bigger question, what is it about the human experience that makes us so fascinated by these mysteries?
It is a question worth pondering.
Yeah.
Why are we so captivated by these stories?
Right.
By the possibility of creatures that defy scientific classification.
It's like there's a part of us that wants to believe, that needs to believe in something bigger than ourselves. Or maybe it's just plain fun to entertain the what-ifs.
Right. Either way, it speaks to the power of these legends,
Yeah.
Their ability to endure and to spark our imaginations.
And to keep us searching for answers.
Absolutely.
Even if those answers remain elusive.
Now imagine for a moment that Bigfoot or the Yeti or any of these creatures were definitively proven to exist.
Okay.
What would that mean for our understanding of the world, of our place in it?
I mean, it would be absolutely groundbreaking, right?
It would.
It would mean that we've shared this planet with another intelligent species.
Right.
Perhaps even a close relative without even realizing it.
It would challenge everything we thought we knew about human evolution.
Yeah.
And our place in the natural world.
And it would raise a whole host of ethical questions.
Absolutely.
Like, how would we interact with these creatures? How would we protect them?
Would we even be capable of coexisting peacefully?
With something so different from ourselves?
Right.
Those are some heavy questions.
They are.
It's like flipping the script. What if we were the hidden species? The ones being observed and studied from afar.
What traces would we leave behind?
Yeah. Would there be enough evidence to convince the skeptics?
Or would we simply remain a whispered legend?
A figment of someone's imagination. Really makes you think about perspective, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
We spend so much time trying to prove that these creatures exist.
Yeah.
But what if the real challenge is believing in something we haven't seen with our own eyes?
It's possible, right?
It's like we're comfortable with what we can explain,
Uh-huh.
But these creatures, these cryptids,
Yeah.
they represent that edge of the map.
Mm.
That space where knowledge kind of fades into mystery.
And that can be a very uncomfortable place for some people,
Yeah.
We like certainty.
Right.
But the truth is there's still so much about the natural world that we just don't understand.
And I think that's what makes these deep dives so fascinating for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's not always about finding concrete answers.
Right.
But it's more about exploring those unanswered questions, those tantalizing possibilities.
Keeping that sense of wonder alive.
Yeah.
In a world that's increasingly, driven by data and technology. It's easy to lose sight of the fact that there's still magic and mystery to be found.
If you know where to look.
Or maybe more importantly, if you know how to look.
Exactly. It's about cultivating that curiosity, that willingness to embrace the unknown.
Right. And who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe someday that open-mindedness
will
lead to a discovery that changes everything.
It could happen, right?
It could.
Well, I think you've given us all a lot to think about today.
Mm-hmm.
Even if we never find definitive proof of Bigfoot or any of its global cousins,
right,
the search itself is a journey worth taking.
It is. It's a reminder to stay curious.
Yeah.
To never stop questioning.
Right.
And to always be open to the possibility of something extraordinary lurking just beyond the edge of our understanding.
I love that.
Yeah.
Beautifully put.
Thanks.
To all our listeners out there, keep exploring those uncharted territories.
Yes.
Both in the world around us and in your own minds.
That's right.
You never know what you might find. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive. And until next time, keep searching for those wild things.